What is up, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Cage. We start the show with some breaking news that just dropped probably a little over an hour ago. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler at UFC 303 International Fight Week is off. We finally got some clarification due to a Conor injury. I know that was kind of my biggest question this whole time, was no one was saying what it was. We finally got clarification on that. It's a Conor injury. So we got Pereira and Geary 2. Jamal Hill is also out of his fight with Olberg. So we have Ortega and Diego Lopes as the co-main. But obviously, we just want to talk about the Conor situation first. What was your reaction to this, and how do you like where we stand now?
Gotta say, I was disappointed, but not shocked. I had a little bit of hope that the fight was going to happen because McGregor's never pulled out of a fight due to injury in his whole entire UFC career. Once he signed the dotted line, the only time that the fight didn't end up happening was UFC 200 against Nate Diaz due to contract disputes. And then he had one other fight in Cage Warriors when he pulled out due to injury, but he's always fought through injuries. We saw it in the documentaries. He'll go into a fight if he's not 100%. So that tells me that, unfortunately, McGregor had a real injury, and apparently he got hurt 1 or 2 days before that press conference in Ireland that got canceled. And the reason that they didn't come out and say that McGregor was hurt is because they still had hope that the fight was going to happen. And the UFC didn't want to do McGregor dirty, I guess, by exposing the fact he has an injury, because if Chandler learns that his right knee's hurt or whatever it may be, then obviously he's going to know to target that. It sucks. I mean, you hear it all the time. 95% of injuries in this sport come in the training camp, not the fights themselves, because you got to put yourself through hell just to get in good enough shape to be a fighter. And I think with McGregor being out of the game for as long as he was, it would be tough to get through a hard training camp without an injury. And unfortunately, it was just too serious for him to continue. I'm excited about the main event. It's a title fight. I think we kind of know how it's going to go, or a lot of us have a pretty strong idea on that. But I'd like to see McGregor in the Sphere. They said they want to rebook it before the year ends, close to the end of the year. So September, maybe pushing it. They're probably thinking maybe November, October, December. But I would love to see McGregor main event the Sphere. Maybe Suge on a co-main. What are you thinking right now with this whole thing? You kind of predicted this on our last episode. You said, I won't believe it till I see him in the octagon. What's your feelings?
Yeah,
right now?
I just, like I've said a while ago, if you're a fan of the show for a long time, I just never believed it got to a certain point where I just never believed he was going to fight until he actually does. So, like, I'm not as bummed as everybody else because I kind of just, like, never expect it to happen. If it does happen, great. Now, it being for an injury, I didn't expect. I thought that'd be something else. He just wasn't ready, couldn't make the weight, wasn't clean, all of that. I never saw it being because of an injury. Yeah, but my first reaction to all this, dude, is like, you just gotta feel for Michael Chandler. Like, we're gonna talk about Hamza in a little bit, but like, Michael Chandler was a guy who was super active. Now he hasn't fought in I don't know how long.
Yeah, and you remember his famous
He was
quote?
already waiting. He was already passed up a lot of fights for this Conor fight. Yep.
He said, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. No. Oh,
Yep.
man.
And then the Conor fight finally gets booked later than expected. Now it gets canceled or pushed back. It's just, you feel for Michael Chandler, but he's all in on this Conor fight, man. I'll tell you what, they have to give this guy a raise for this fight. I'm sure he was already getting paid the big bucks, but he's got to get a raise for this fight because he just keeps on waiting. I'm sure he was offered other fights, but he's just all in on this Conor fight.
Yeah. At the same time, though, like, yes, I feel bad for Michael Chandler, but say you were in his shoes and you get this scenario. You've been saying this whole time, you don't believe McGregor's going to fight until you see it happen. So if you're Michael Chandler, obviously hindsight is 2020, but would you have gambled these last 2 years of your career on this one fight? Because, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that wouldn't have waited as long as they did, and they would have just went and fought other guys. So it sucks. We're gamblers. We see the value in what Chandler is doing. Everyone does. But it's just brutal all around. He was He was right in the mix, man. Was his last fight the Tony Ferguson front kick?
No, he had.
Did he lose?
Look
Was
that
it
up.
Dustin?
Look that up.
Let me see. They were all so long ago. They kind of just blend together for me now.
Yeah, but they were all so close, and then they just
Mm-hmm.
were so long ago.
And the fact that this fight was at 170, it didn't really have any title implications because neither of these guys were going to go beat Leon. So at
Yeah.
least now, our main event and co-main event, main event's a title fight, co-main event has title implications or at least title shot. So Chandler's last fight was November 12th of 2022, where he lost to Dustin. And then in
Damn.
May before that, he beat Tony.
2022?
Yes. And then the fight before that was the Tony front kick.
So he didn't fight all of 23 and he's not going to fight damn near all of 24?
Yup.
Wow. Wow.
So at some point, and I guess the ultimate fighter, when that happens,
you just take a fight though?
And the UFC, the way they operate, they're required to offer each fighter 3 fights a year. So they had to have been offering Michael Chandler something. I'm sure they weren't great fights, or it might have just kind of been a formality in offering him fights that neither side knew they were going to accept. But yeah, man, it's going to be 2 years out of the game in really the last years of Michael Chandler's prime, which sucks to see. He had been a top 3 most exciting UFC fighter since he had joined the roster. God.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to figure the longer this wait is, it favors Conor. Obviously, you don't know now with the injury or what the injury. Do we know what the injury is?
I was trying to read up on it. Let me check one thing. I saw Ariel's been in the know, but he just can't talk about it. He's been giving everyone little snippets here and there. So, yeah, I don't know. They're not saying what the injury is. I'm sure McGregor might be the one to come out and do it. He kind of hinted at it when he posted that video on his story where it was young McGregor talking about flexibility being the key to not being injured and shit like that. And he had a sad face and a prayer emoji next to it. So, man, it sucks, dude. And you know he's really injured because he fought with a torn ACL. So you know it's something that he just can't fight through.
Yeah, so that makes me think, like, how long is he out? How long? It's not a good situation.
Nope.
Sucks to see. I don't know. What fight happens first? John Jones and Stipe or Conor and Chandler? At this point, put them on the same card.
Literally, bro. And then have a whole nother card ready. Just have guys on standby. Just a whole nother card ready to go in case these guys pull out.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I don't have an answer for you. I was trying to run some timelines in my head right there. I'd say McGregor, Chandler, but then again, what are Jones and Stipe waiting for? I think Jones and Stipe.
Yeah. Well, John's hurt out a year. And that happened like in October.
So I guess he's not ready till late fall, or he can't get in camp till. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably Conor and Chandler, but it's crazy that's even a question at this point.
Yeah. Remember, people were saying Suga and Conor were going to be on the same card in March at 300 or in April at 300, and it just keeps on getting moved back.
Yeah.
Brutal.
We had another big pull out of a fight. Khamzat Chimaev is out of his fight versus Robert Whittaker. Do we get Whittaker a new opponent?
Ikram Aliskerov. He was supposed to be fighting this weekend, but they have moved him to the main event of UFC Saudi Arabia. Decent opponent. Unfortunately, I feel like he's most famous for getting knocked out by Khamzat before either of them were in the UFC.
Yeah.
I think Whittaker's minus 140 coming in. Okay. Aliskerov plus 120. So I'll still take Whittaker. I'm kind of bummed mainly because it just proves I was right. I'd been saying I was going to bet Whittaker this whole time. So if the fight did happen, looks like Whittaker was in better conditions as of right now.
Yeah. I mean, you just throws off the whole middleweight kind of picture. I mean, now it's kind of guaranteed. I would say we get Izzy and Dricus, and then winner of that versus Sean. Because Whitaker beating Askarov isn't gonna really put him in the picture. But a win versus Hamzat would have, so it kind of sucks for Whitaker. He kind of loses out on a title eliminator possibly
for him now.
And I mean, just for Hamzat, man, like this is why. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the UFC knew this or what it was, but he just can't. You can't rely on him to fight 2-3 times a year and be the face of a company. You can't do it.
Yeah, this is the second time in his career that he's come down with some gnarly illness like this, where it's put him in the hospital. The reports from his manager posted a long paragraph on Instagram, and he basically said that Hamzat had been in and out of the hospital for the last, I want to say a few weeks, maybe month. And they were trying to figure out how to, I guess, cure him basically, but they couldn't. And they kind of called it off today. They realized we're too close. He's not really getting any better, so we can't make this happen. And I remembered hearing last time during COVID when I think he got messed up by COVID. He was the only person maybe to get messed up by COVID. But they were saying it's because he trained so hard. He just never really gave his body a chance to recover. Apparently he does 4 or 5 sessions a day. So maybe if he's still doing that, his immune system is just so vulnerable all the time that he's getting these weird ass viruses or infections or whatever it may be. So I don't know. Maybe Hamzat's got to look into a lifestyle change, or maybe he just has maybe he just has a weak immune system. I don't know, but it's weird. Got to change something up though. And it does suck for Whitaker because now he really has nothing to gain from this.
Yeah, and they just keep giving Hamzat. I mean, and respectfully so, he gets big wins. He just beat Kamaru Usman, so like he deserves big fights. But man, you just can't trust him to be a main event or build your card around him. It's tough.
Yeah, it's brutal that we both had him in our top 5 pound for pound fighters in 2028 or whatever it is, and he's just not looking like he's going to be on that track. Was it top 5 in 2025 or 28? I don't remember, but
2028 sounds better because 2025 sounds wrong.
Facts. I was going to say if it's 2025, then that's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing I had before we moved out of the canceled fights category. Dana White has got to be so sick that his prized international fight week is not a stacked ass card, because I'm going to just put these up here. This was last year's international fight week. We saw this one in person. I'll just leave it up here for like 10, 20 seconds so y'all can see all the crazy ass names. The prelims were stacked. We had Robbie Lawler's retirement, which was literally the perfect send-off. And then every fight on the main card was a banger, I believe. Yeah, 2 of those fights were Fight of the Year contenders, Turner and Hooker and Moreno-Pantoja. Prelims were elite. And then the year before that, this was the International Fight Week of 2022. Ridiculous. Absolutely nuts. I think this card stands the test of time better than maybe any card ever. I don't know. I mean, 300 obviously is kind of a cheat code, but just look at the names. Dricus du Plessis, 2nd fight of the night. Bobby Green, Jim Miller, 1. 3rd fight of the night. Ian Gary on the prelims. Robbie Lawler, Barberena. Jalen Turner on the prelims. Sugar Sean, 2nd fight of the main card. Poetan Strickland. Holloway Volkanovski, headlined by Adesanya Cannonier. Wow. And you know Dana would have done the same damn thing, because I feel like timing-wise, a lot of people are probably ready to rock right now, but they just couldn't shell out a bunch of big-ass contracts on a Conor card because they have to pay him so much.
Yeah. It's tough. It just put everybody in a bad spot.
Yeah, imagine all the people that spent tens of thousands on hotels and those tickets that were ridiculously overpriced.
I'll tell you what, though, hearing about these 2 fights, Hamzat being out, Conor being out, them having to rework the International Fight Week card, made me hope and wish that we get to see the inside the UFC this past week. What a fucking documentary that was. Are they coming out with more episodes, or is that it?
I think that's like a season 1 at least. I don't think there's anything coming out immediately after, but that was like UFC fan porn right there. That
Bro.
was so good, bro. I couldn't have asked for any more.
And it was beautiful to me because 2 of the 3 episodes were literally highlighted by Izzy and Sugar Sean, my 2 favorite fighters.
And then John Jones, not a bad first one either.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. What an amazing documentary.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to be it's going to be a little bit of a fluff piece for the UFC because they're the ones that are recording it and putting it on. So they're going to show mainly the good moments from then in those negotiations. I saw a lot of people were kind of hating on the Hunter Campbell, Aljamain Sterling interaction, saying Aljo kind of got pressured into taking that Sugar fight. But I don't know. What did you think about that?
At the end of the day, you sign a dotted line, you sign a dotted line to fight. Did they force him into fighting? I don't think they forced anyone into fight. Did they want him to fight? Yes. Did they? I will say, do I think they wanted Sugar to be the champion? Yes.
Dude,
did they?
Yeah.
Did they want like? Yeah, they wanted Sugar to be the champion. And he's a star, but at the end of the day, he knocked him out. But I don't think they forced anyone to fight. You don't force no one to fight.
And then Hunter did it in such a smart way. Like the way that he pitched that fight to Aljo says, listen, to be real with you, everyone's going to be tuning into Sugar for this fight. But if you can beat him, you'll take some of his fans. You'll take that hype from him, and those fans will become your fans. So he provided the upside to Aljo. And it's not like they threatened him. It's not like they said, we're going to strip you of the title if you don't fight. I just don't get why Aljo didn't say, I get it's Boston, but why can't we just fight a couple months later, end of the year? Yeah. Because it was a quick turnaround for him, but I mean, Sugar was the one that went and entered.
Like the whole division, though, the timing was off. So, yes, it was quick for Aljo, but it was a long layoff for Sugar Sean.
That's true. He had already been waiting since that Peter fight in Abu Dhabi. That's very true.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that documentary, though, was so good. Were you kind of surprised? I saw a lot of people were surprised that Hunter Campbell was the one really like in the mud.
Yeah.
Instead of Dana.
I think Dana does a lot. I just think that Hunter's kind of the businessman. He's kind of like the most similar person to Dana they have.
Yeah. And I think like Dana's just not just obviously, but he's the face. So he's the one having to make all the appearances and shoot all those promotional videos and do all those things that probably take up a lot of the time. And then him and Hunter goes out, freaking gets out there in the mud, negotiates with all the fighters, and then they meet up in that war room and cook stuff up on that board.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit made me want to like go apply and say I'll work for free. Like, I'll just prove myself and work for free until you guys want to hire me or you don't.
Yeah.
But dude, that would be such a sick ass job, something different every day. And like they said, you just never know what you're gonna expect in that workplace, in that scenario.
Yeah. Great. I mean, we need more of that. It's kind of just like embedded, a long ass embedded. But like just inside the details of like how that shit goes and like the behind the scenes and why we love the UFC. So they hit a home run with it. I would love for like a kind of like a Netflix series, like 5 episodes, 10 episodes, kind of like how they do like the quarterback in the NFL or like the full swing with the golf, like something like that would be really. I mean, it's kind of basically what it was, but just more of a longer like season.
I fucks with that. You could easily do one a year. I mean, I think that's going to do really, really well. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
My guy, Jared Cannonier, I don't even know if I can say he let me down or not. He was losing the fight, but that was not a good stoppage one bit. Nasruddin Imavov stops Jared Cannonier in the 4th round, unfortunately. Very questionable. I didn't get the video in here. I probably should have, but he was on his feet, moving around, still defending himself. Literally looked like he stumbled out of the pocket, just kind of trying to like get to space. And then I think it was Jason Herzog, who's one of the better refs in the game, stopped it. It was brutal. Do I think he was going to win the fight? Probably not. so it didn't really matter at the end of the day. But then again, it's a fight, and Jared Cannonier has big power, so he had a chance still. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was questionable. You could make a case, like you said, he was going to lose. You don't judge it on that, obviously, but you could argue the damage. But the damage wasn't a lot. So did I think it was a questionable stoppage? Yes. I don't think it was like automatically don't stop it. I think it could have went either way. But yeah, I wasn't upset at it in real time. When you start reading stuff after, then it makes you question. But in real time, I didn't think it was anything crazy.
Yeah. And it sucks for Jared Cannonier, dude, because he's gonna get hurt way more for a loss than Strickland would, or Whitaker would, or Hamzat would. He's gonna get moved all the way back down. I mean, in reality, that's his last chance at a title run right there, because he's 40, and he was dealing with some pretty brutal stuff outside the cage too, just like family stuff. He said it in an interview, and then had an infection on his face couple weeks before, so just kind of a brutal few months for him, and kind of sucks the way that it got capped off with that early stoppage. He probably feels like everything's up against him right now, but hopefully he can get back in there and get a good win before the end of the year.
Yeah.
How about Dominic Reyes? A comeback story.
Wow. Does he get a big fight immediately now? Not like a title eliminator, but does he get like a big name?
Why not, dude? Like we always say, in this light heavyweight division, why not? It's not like it's super condensed like bantamweight or lightweight. We've got Dominic Reyes, who is a former title contender, fought John Jones as well as anyone has. Hard to say he looked great because it was so quick, but in the 3 minutes we saw from him, he looked amazing. And we saw him get punched and eat a decent shot too, which also made me feel good. He looks re-energized. I mean, maybe the time off, just kind of being away from getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
You think why not? Maybe I don't know, maybe like a Jan Blachowicz?
I like that. Well, they already fought.
I guess Jan did knock him out, actually, so I don't know if they'd want to do that, but someone up there in that tier right there.
Yeah.
Or like a Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I like all those. That's a good one.
And how about the kid Raul Rosas? He said, "Chee wee wee." Got the W. That shit had me dead. I saw this one tweet. It was about the Chee wee wee thing. It said, some teacher right now is one of his former teachers is watching this, saying, "I know that fool did that all day in class. It was just a menace." Saying "Chee wee wee." It's so sick though to just see like a kid, like we all knew those kids in high school that were just some clowns yelling out random stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, you already know they had the conversation. He's like, "Hey fool, if I win, I'm gonna say it on the mic." And then he just did it, and everyone was so confused. But I have a feeling that's gonna be one of those funny videos that is out there for a long time.
Yeah.
Bro, he's going to be such a guy. Like, maybe not even for another 5 years, but Raul Rosas is going to be so good once he's like 24, 25. Because he's like a 15-year vet in terms of training MMA. He's literally been doing it since he was 4. Like how all the NBA players are with basketball, or NFL players are with football. Like we've said, he's one of those next generation guys where you're going to have to train since you were 4 to get into the UFC eventually, because there's just going to be so many really good guys. And I feel like he's one of the first ones that are in that category.
Yep.
Good. It was honestly a good card though. The KFC Yum Center I've got to say the crowd wasn't as good as most of the city fight nights. I saw a few more empty seats in there than you usually do. Carlos Prates. Very, very good win on the prelims over Charles Radke. Welterweight, just a nasty striker, Brazilian. He stood out to me. Brad Katona, unfortunately, got a win it was by decision. I bet on that at least. I didn't bet on him to lose, but bet on the fight going the distance. And then this week we've got a guy, a flyweight that I've been preaching his name for a while now, Tatsuro Taira. And this is honestly a tough test for him and Alex Perez. He's coming in. Taira's a minus 195 favorite, but Alex Perez has shown a little rejuvenation in his career.
Yeah, just knocked out Matthias Nicolau.
Yeah, really good win. And then before that, he had a close fight against Mokaev. This will be his third fight in the last 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, I'm all over Tatsuro Taira here by sub. Tatsuro Taira 15-0, 7 wins by sub. Alex Perez has 5 submission losses. So I'm not laying the 190, but I'm gonna take a flyer on Tatsuro Taira by sub. I think it's like plus 125, plus 130 right now.
That's how you know it's gonna happen too, when it's that good of odds.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, we hit our last big by sub better I did with Islam. Dude, I thought of a good nickname for Taira. I don't know if it'll catch on, but Japaneeb. This is like the Japanese Khabib.
Oh, I like that.
Japaneeb.
I like that.
We saw him live at International Fight Week. He was like a minus 1,000 something favorite, and he honestly didn't really look like it, but he still won his fight.
Yeah.
This card took a fat hit though because Ikram Aliskerov was supposed to be on the co-main event, but now he's not. So we got Miles Johnson, Douglas Silva de Andrade co-main. Brady Heiston, Garrett Armfield got moved back up to the main card. Joshua Vaughn, that's a flyweight that I'm excited for. He's fighting Tagir Ulanbekov. But yeah, pretty underwhelming card in general. Our guy Nurdan Binky fighting, second fight of the night.
Yeah, I saw that.
I might fade Weston Wilson. He's a 6'1" featherweight, but he's just proven to be not amazing so far. He's fighting Jekka Sarai. He's plus 280, but I might just throw Sarai in a lot of parlays.
Real quick. Johnny Walker versus Volkan Ozdemir next week. Winner fights Dominic Reyes.
Ooh. That seems perfect right there in terms of where they're at rankings-wise.
Yeah. Let's get ready. It's a big fight, man. Fuck it. Let's see if he's ready or not. If not, no harm to no one.
He's probably like the 4th or 5th biggest name at light heavyweight still?
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Oh, man, all right. Couple random other sport things before we get out of here. NBA Finals, you were right about Boston. Kills me to say it, but you were right. And then U.S. Open. We were talking before we got on here, but let's get official predictions on the air. Who you got?
As much as I don't want to say it, I think Bryson can win it. But if not, Ludwig Alberg.
I don't want Ludwig to win it.
I like Ludwig.
I think he's like the Timberwolves for me. He's got to get his heart broken a few times. Like he's got to have the lead on Sunday and then lose.
Yeah, I feel you. He's been close. So yeah. I mean, a lot of times you look for guys like Bryson who haven't got it done, but have been there around this year. Rory's been around this year, hasn't quite finished the deal. Finau, you just can never trust Tony Finau, sadly. But yeah, I think those are the two names I look at, Bryson and Ludwig right now, that I think can get it done.
It's funny because I've been a Rory hater for the last 5 years, but in the last probably month or two, I've kind of started to root for Rory again and started to put bets on him and stuff. I kind of want to see him get it done now. So I'm gonna say Rory. He looked really good today. He walked behind one of his putts on these insane greens, which that's a bold move, bro. Imagine if he was walking behind his putt and it rolls past the hole and off the green.
Yeah.
That would have been. I guess he could have been doing the Phil Mickelson thing. Remember when Phil chased it down and hit it before it stopped?
Yeah. Course was playing tough today, so going 5 under is really impressive.
That is, dude. They were saying they thought the winner was going to be above par. So
yeah.
But not supposed to rain. Greens are supposed to get faster.
Yeah.
We're about to hit the fucking dog days of every other sport. It's literally only going to be MMA. It's the only thing getting us through.
Yeah, baseball.
Yeah, it's a good thing to bet.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been fading the White Sox pretty much every day this year, and they're 17-52. So it's been working all right.
Yeah.
You got anything else before we get out of here?
I don't, man. I'm good.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Freaking, we finally got some good timing with some news. Shouts to Summer League.
Yeah, facts.
All right, we'll see y'all later. Deuces.